At this point, I thought I would explain what our home life looked like after we received this terminal diagnosis for our daughter. You know, what did my husband and I's relationship look like? What did we tell our children? What was really going on within our home after receiving such horrific news? So we received Poppy's diagnosis about mid-November during the holiday season, and almost immediately I made the decision to cancel all appointments that I deemed as unnecessary. Now, I promise you, we're responsible parents. Like, we kept all the pediatrician appointments, we kept all the medically necessary appointments. I think I chose to stop doing the physical therapy because that was outside of our home, and I didn't love the lady. And I think we also stopped doing the vision therapy. The one thing that we did continue to always do was our occupational therapy. So I loved our occupational therapist. She would come into our home. She was so sweet. I just know Poppy loved her. So I did keep that appointment, but I did go to every other week at that point because I just wanted time with Poppy. And if medical necessary appointments were building up, I needed those other appointments to go down so I could have a bit of balance in life. You guys, and I just wanted her in my arms. And I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna have her favorite person do these therapies with her from now on. Me. No, I'm just kidding. You guys, she was an infant. And so a lot of these therapies were things that I was like, I can do, and I can do them within my own home where I can control the atmosphere for Poppy to be most comfortable. And so I ordered different light things, toys, balls, and we just had a little therapy routine that we would do every day. So our number one priority with Poppy was always her comfort, and that was getting harder to maintain. She was having a lot of issues with her startle reflex. Any loud noise would really set off her sensory input, which would cause her to cry. She was having issues with her acid reflux, and that would get worse as the day would go on, and that would make her cry. And so if she was in our home, I could control all of the sounds, could give her baths throughout the day, which she loved water. That was always a really good sensory reset for her. I mean, here's the thing, she was a happy baby. She was so cute, but she did have some times where she could cry. And I never showed the tears on camera. I always wanted to respect her dignity. So as a mom though, the stress level in our homes were definitely climbing with each day, each week. You know, I was doing as best as I could. I would try to multitask. So I would make my kids lunches the nights before, because in the mornings I had to feed Poppy a whole bottle before we took the kids to school. And it took her a whole hour to eat her bottle. I will say, you guys, I think I had times when I stressed out Poppy, but to be fair, you guys, she stressed me out. We had a very normal mother-daughter relationship. She lived out every aspect of her life very fully. That level of stress I didn't deal well with. So when my husband would come home from work every evening, he would first change his clothes because he works in an elementary school, so he had to get all of the germs off of him, put on some new clothes, and he would immediately take Poppy. And I think that was her favorite time of the day. She just loved her dad. He was this nice calming presence for her. And he would come home from work, he would take Poppy, and then I could make dinner or focus on Rosie and Peter. We were very much divide and conquer at this time. So one of us was always Poppy and one of us was always Rosie and Peter. A lot of times in the evening, because her acid reflux would get so bad, she was already uncomfortable from that. And then if a loud noise happened, which caused her to startle, she would start crying more. So there was a lot of evenings, actually, one of us would have to just be upstairs in our house with Poppy to keep her kind of in a sensory safe area, while the other person was downstairs with Rosie and Peter. And this wasn't all the time, but that was something that would happen. So this was a time for my husband Jake and I when our marriage and relationship was not first. You know how you hear people say that? They're like, you need to put your marriage first before everything else. And it was no, we were in survival mode in our household. That was not possible. The one thing I will say, what helped keep Jake and I always on the same page, is we were experiencing everything together. He's such an involved dad. He's just the best dad. So he knew Poppy so well. He went to all of those big appointments with me. We received all of the same news together. And so I just felt like that kept us really mentally on the same page, being physically at those appointments together and then both being so physically involved with Poppy. And yeah, after the diagnosis, I feel like we never settled into a groove where everything felt okay. The stress level again increased by day and by week because Poppy was slowly declining by day and by week. Like, here are a few things that really helped our family during that time. The first one is meals. I had an aunt who would send our family a pizza dinner once a month. And it was just like a standing pizza dinner. I think it was like the first Tuesday of every month. She had an order with a local pizza place. And she would send me a text and be like, hey, the pizza's coming tonight. And it would be pizza and salad and desserts. And it was a dinner that our kids would always eat. And there would always be leftovers. So that was so incredibly helpful. The other thing, is like my mom would come once a week to hang out with Poppy so I could run some errands. And she would also leave us a dinner. My mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and sister, they were all so helpful with helping pick up our 2 older kids from school if we ever needed help with that, or watching them while we were at appointments. So what did we ever tell Rosie and Peter? We tried not to tell them much. And what we did tell them, we used very elementary language with them. So we just said things, Poppy's missing that center part of her brain. And so she's just not able to eat like you can. Poppy's body just isn't able to heal itself like your body's able to heal itself. We never used medical language with them. I think to this day, our kids don't even know the genetic code TBCD. Like maybe they do, but it's again, not something we've ever really shared with them because the thing is like they just loved their sister. Like they just loved her so much. They were such good big siblings. And so we did our best to create a normal sibling environment for them. Rosie had so much fun helping me plan Poppy's first birthday party. We threw a little pop theme party for her. And then Peter, he always sat right next to Poppy in the car. He was like the pacifier boy. He always passed the pacifier, or he loved putting toys in her hand. Because again, they understood that Poppy can't see the way you guys can see. And so Peter was so good about always putting things in Poppy's hands because he wanted her to touch and feel and have those sensory inputs. So they just loved her, and we never wanted to scare them. In the next part, I'm going to share our decisions that we made around the double feeding tubes that Poppy had. She had one in her nose and in her stomach. It's kind of where like some of my regrets begin.